What up, Bone Gang? It's your boy El Huesos. Can I get a woof woof? Or can I get a bone in the morning? Today we're reacting to a brave soldier. A soldier. You know what I'm saying? He sacrificed himself for his brothers. That's a real OG right there, man. Let's get into this, man.
This is one of the bravest things I have ever seen someone do in combat. On July 12, 2018, Sergeant First Class Christopher Solis of the
No
75th Ranger
flinch.
Regiment was leading a
No flinch at all. They said was woo! What's that?
seen someone do in combat. On July 12, 2018, Sergeant First Class Christopher Solis of the 75th Ranger Regiment was leading a special purpose unit that included 1st Battalion Rangers and their Afghan partner forces. The unit was tasked with clearing an area of enemy forces deep in the Paktia province to disrupt future attacks against Allied forces and the Afghan government. Sergeant First Class Solis had been a part of the 75th Ranger Regiment since 2013, and over the years he had deployed several times to both Iraq and Afghanistan. But beyond his impressive career in special operations, he was also a loving husband to his wife Katie and an incredible father to his daughter Shannon. In his previous deployment,
Hey, he died for the cause, man. That's what it is. War's a war, man.
to both Iraq and Afghanistan, his teammates spoke highly of him, saying that he was always going the extra mile for the dudes around him and seemingly always putting everyone else's needs above his own. And his family said he was the exact same way back at home, always putting their needs above his own. And on July 12, 2018, Solis proved just how selfless he truly was. At around 5 a.m., the team's convoy was approaching an old storage shelter when they were suddenly ambushed by a large group of heavily armed enemy insurgents from all sides. The Rangers quickly got to work trying to repel the enemy attack, but realizing they were completely surrounded, Solis intentionally exposed himself to intense enemy fire so he could take control of the heavy weapon system mounted on top of his vehicle, which he quickly turned on the enemy and cleared a temporary path for his teammates to move their vehicles out of the ambush zone. Once the Rangers made it out of the ambush zone, they quickly dismounted their vehicles and prepared to defend their new position. The team had multiple critically injured allies that they needed to get out of there immediately, so they called in for a medical helicopter to come pick up their wounded. The team just needed to defend their position long enough to get their wounded guys out of here, and then they could focus all of their attention on the enemy. As soon as the medical helicopter arrived, the enemy focused all of its fire on the helicopter. Solis knew how important it was to get their injured men out of here, so he put himself between the evacuation team and the enemy insurgents. As the evacuation team was trying to load the wounded onto the helicopter, the enemy was focusing all of their fire on the bird. So Solis literally put his own body as a shield between his teammates and the enemy gunfire. And as soon as the wounded men were fully loaded up on the helicopter, the rest of the evacuation team ran for cover. But Solis stayed where he was out in the open to continue acting as a human shield and fire back at the enemy. It wasn't until the helicopter was back in the air that he tried to find cover for himself. Unfortunately, that's when the enemy fire hit Solis in the chest. The medical helicopter saw Solis get hit and fall to the ground, so they started quickly coming back down to land again. But Solis rolled over and waved off the helicopter, knowing that if they stayed here just to save him, they would likely crash and more lives would be at risk. He continued to wave off the helicopter, screaming at them to get out of here. Solis then tried to crawl towards his teammates still on the ground, but he eventually stopped. When they were able to pull him out of the range of the enemy gunfire, they tried calling for another medical helicopter to come pick up Solis, but it was too late. The 32-year-old hero had passed away that day. But his actions saved the lives of his injured teammates as well as all the men on the helicopter medical team. He put himself last and everybody else first, just as he always did. The men on the helicopter reported later that they had sustained heavy damage from the enemy fire, but they were going to risk it to save their brother until he ordered them to get out of there. And they say his actions that day almost certainly saved their lives. For his overwhelmingly selfless and heroic actions, Solis received the Medal of Honor.
Moment of silence for my dog, man. Hey, man. Salute to you.
Which his wife and daughter received on his behalf on December 16, 2021, during a White House ceremony. Men like this make me overwhelmingly proud to be an American. Sergeant First Class Christopher Solis,
sir.
thank you for your service and
Hey,
your
thanks
sacrifice.
for your service, man. No cap. Thanks for your service, my boy. Hey, who the is this? Hey, man. Here's another little short video, you know what I'm saying? Know what I'm saying, man? Hey, he a soldier for sure, man. Put on my screen, man. I'm over here having a moment, dog. Over here having a big moment, man. Hey, man. Salute, man. And RIP, man. Hey, you like this video? I like you. So hit that like, hit that subscribe button, man. We out.